Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Dr. JT's It's All in My Head Weight Loss Program. I'm Dr. JT, and in this episode today, I'm going to talk about the timing of your meals during the day and what kind of timing you should, how you should eat. What kind of scheduling should you do for your meals during the day? And let me start with talking about my story and my program and how I developed my idea of compressing the time that you eat during the day. And so when I started my program, one of the first things I did, I just thought about it. I said, I think it would be a good idea if I go to bed a little bit hungry. Because if I go to bed a little bit hungry, then I know I have consumed fewer calories than I need for my body to function in a 24-hour period. And so I'm very likely, over a long period of time, if I go to bed hungry, a little bit hungry, not a lot hungry, a little bit hungry, that if I go to bed a little bit hungry, then I'm going to slowly lose weight. So I took that idea and I said, how do I do that? And the best way I thought to do that would be to eat earlier in the day, so that by the time that I went to bed, it had been some hours since I had eaten. And so naturally in doing that, without really even thinking about it, I was compressing the number of hours that I was eating. And so what I found was, in fact, my first, the first thing I found was just compressing the time I ate. Even if I ate the same amount, I actually started losing a little bit of weight. And I think that's one thing that you would find, that if you actually compress the hours that you eat in the day, even if you consume the same amount of calories, there's a pretty good chance that you'll begin to lose a little bit of weight. So that's just one change, and an important change that you can make to your diet would be to compress the hours that you eat. So I just discovered that. I said, and it worked. It worked, and I thought, wow, okay, this seems to be working. I'm compressing the hours. I'm going to bed a little bit hungry. I'm slowly losing weight. I'm slowly making changes, one little change at a time, so I can see the effect of that change. And then making sure that I go to bed a little bit hungry. So I made sure that I ate earlier in the day. And what I did, and this is not everybody can do this, but what I did was I ate a more hearty lunch. I made sure that my lunchtime, that was my biggest meal of the day. And then sometimes I had a snack later in the afternoon, maybe a little bit of a snack. But sometimes that lunch, maybe I ate at 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And that, in many times, that was the last meal of the day when I started my program. And so I just discovered this. I didn't know anything about intermittent fasting. I didn't know anything about the benefits of compressing the time that you ate in the day, compressing your scheduling of meals. I just discovered that it worked for me. And so I discovered later on that in fact research was being done on compressing the time you were eating, and people were finding, research was suggesting that it was an effective way to lose weight. So I thought, well, that's really good. But as I say, I discovered this idea on my own, and then I went out and found information that said, oh, okay, that kind of confirms that was a pretty good approach. So I would say to people that are following this program, this All in My Head Weight Loss program, that one of the very important things that you want to do in your program is compress the hours that you eat. Now, there's a term that's become very common where it's called intermittent fasting. That's a term that I looked it up in Wikipedia. They said around 2018 it became a very common, a kind of a bit of a fad apparently. And but what I'm telling you is that I was doing this in 2014, 2015, kind of finding this out on my own, and then it turns out there was research that was done. It became popular. So what I want to say is, I think in general, yeah, it's a great idea. So if you've heard about this and you call it intermittent fasting, whatever you want to call it, compressing the hours that you eat, intermittent fasting, it's a very, very good idea. And now for some people, for example, if you have diabetes, sounds like I wouldn't recommend it. I think people that are diabetics, this is you have to take a different approach, and maybe this program isn't the best program for you. So, not everybody, this is the perfect program. I'm not saying that this is one size fits all, but I think for many people, and not type 2 diabetes, because type 2 diabetes is frequently caused by people that are overweight. And many times your type 2 diabetes goes away once your weight goes down. That's definitely a situation for many people. So, but outside of that, I really wanted to give the positive message that I think an important part of this program is compressing the time that you eat, that you are spending more time digesting your food, that it has positive impacts in terms of your metabolism, in getting your body to function in a very good way, in a very healthy way. Now, this gets back to the idea of going to bed a little bit hungry, because I want to make clear you don't want to go to bed a lot hungry. And the idea of intermittent fasting should not say go to bed a lot hungry. If you go to bed a little bit hungry, that means that you've had a good meal during the day. You want to have a good meal. You want to enjoy eating. You just don't want to eat too much. You can enjoy eating. You can have a robust meal. You can get full. You can get comfortably full. That's very possible. And in fact, I would encourage that. And that the sign that you're not eating enough is if you're very hungry when you go to bed, that you really want to eat. Once you get used to going to bed a little bit hungry, you'll find out it's not that hard. If you're going to bed just a little bit hungry, you can do it. It's something that you can do outside of people with medical issues, of course, if you compress the time that you eat during the day. Now, but I do want to also point out a lot of people have struggles with their schedules. It may be difficult for you to eat lunch, eat a good lunch. Maybe your work situation is such that it's very hectic for you. It's difficult for you to set the time aside to have a good meal. Maybe you're eating on the run. Well, one thing is maybe you want to try to change that as much as possible and get into better control, but maybe that not everybody can do that. And maybe you need to eat later in the day. Maybe you're a parent and you have to make meals for your children, and it's kind of hard just to make meals and serve it to your children and then just sit there and not eat. So you have to be realistic about that. Now, some people talk about that you could skip breakfast and go in later in the day and compress it that way. That's certainly a way. So I don't want to exclude that. If you eat later in the day, you're probably not going to bed as much a little bit hungry. I think that's a second best approach. The first best approach is go to bed a little bit hungry. But if you have to eat later in the day, just try not to eat too much. Try to go to bed where you're not full. Try to learn how to shift the amount of your meals to earlier in the day. Even if your situation makes it difficult to not have to eat later in the day, you don't have to eat a big meal. You can try to shift as much as you can. And that's part of getting control. Getting control over your life. That's something that you have to think about. Getting in control. Maybe not eating in the early morning, eating a big lunch, having a small dinner. That wouldn't exclude going to bed maybe a little bit hungry. Those are different ways to do it. But the important thing is that your body is spending more time where there's food not coming in. If you're eating over a 16, 17-hour period a day, that's going to have a different impact on your weight. And it's going to be a lot easier to eat more and to eat too much. So this is another thing. If you compress the amount of time that you eat and you make sure of that, it's kind of harder to eat too much. It's harder to actually eat too much. So that's another benefit. But I do want to be realistic about many people's lives, that it may be difficult for you to schedule your eating in such a way where you're not eating in the evening, and it may make it difficult to go to bed a little bit hungry. But then I would say try to eat a modest meal earlier in the evening. Try to eat a bigger meal earlier in the day. Maybe thinking about getting up and not having breakfast, but still making sure that you're compressing your eating in say an 8, 9, 10-hour period during the day. Those things are possible. And especially now, more people are working from home, so more people than ever are going to have more control. So this is also with the COVID-19, with this pandemic, there's certainly more opportunity, more possibility for more people to get more control over their schedule and their situation. So that's certainly the possibility to take advantage of that. So that's something also to consider. So I want to recap. You want to compress the hours that you eat. I think the best thing is if you go to bed a little bit hungry, you bring up your last meal of the day as early as possible. You compress the hours that you eat so that you get up in the morning, you have a good breakfast, and at lunchtime you have a robust lunch and little, if any, food in the evening. That's probably best. But if your schedule makes it difficult, still try to have the bulk of your food earlier in the day, have as little as you need in the evening. And I will tell you, if you compress it, you will find out that you're taking in less calories. It's just going to be harder to do that. So I'm going to close with that. I haven't decided what I'm going to talk about in my next topic yet, but I'm going to come out with another video, and I'm coming out with these every week. So please watch out. So thanks for watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so. And please, the most important thing is share this video with someone that you care about. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.